Matthan, are we supposed to hear this person speaking?
Yeah, I can't hear anything.
We can't hear anything. Are we supposed to hear this? Are we supposed to hear this person speaking?
Hi.
Are we supposed to hear that? Because we can't hear anything.
Yes. Let me start it again. Yes.
No sound whatsoever.
No sound.
Are we supposed to hear this?
Yes, I put myself on mute by mistake. Sorry. Yes.
Are we supposed to hear that? Because we can't hear anything.
Thank you. Yes. Let me start it again. Yes.
No sound whatsoever.
So,
Are we supposed to hear that?
Yes, I put myself on mute by mistake. Sorry. Yes.
Are we supposed to hear that? Because we can't hear anything.
there's still no sound.
Why is it so bad? By mistake. Sorry. Yes.
I'm Dr. Tisetso Lepoto. I'm the founder and CEO of Nematech. Nematech is a biotech company that manufactures and distributes organic and eco biopesticides. Farmers. Last year I was one of.
Okay, so I'm the first startup to pitch. Can you please also let me know if you're here? Dumelo Chilwane, if you're available.
Hi, yes, I am available. Hello.
Hi.
I've actually been here trying to see how to present my screen, because unfortunately I have to present from my phone. So again, you will excuse me if there are any interruptions with phone calls or anything like that. Can you see my screen? Hello?
Nothing yet,
Can
Tumelo.
you see my screen?
Nothing
No,
yet.
we
Tumelo.
can't.
If anybody has maybe a quick idea of how to do it on the phone, please do assist.
So while you sort out, okay, there we
Yes,
go.
please.
All right, no problem. Thank you.
Is the screen visible now?
I can see it. Yes.
I will
See
like.
it.
Yes, Tumelo, it's there.
All right, thank you. Good day, everyone. I'm not sure in the difference in time zones of the people in attendance, so I'll just say good day from South Africa. My name is Dumelo Chilwane. I am co-founder and CEO. I would like to get a few minutes just to tell you guys about what we do. So I'll start first with the reason why we are in this business to begin with. With a strong conviction, we believe that Africa is absolutely the world's last resort to food security. I have what I call the food 60 dilemma, because we've got over 60% of the most arable land in Africa. Average age of a farmer in Africa is over 60 years of age. At least 60% of African population is made up of youth, and hence why we believe that the biggest opportunity in terms of food production lies here in Africa. So just to speak a bit about who we are a youth-owned business. Overall, what we do is we are an agri-tech business that provides agricultural extensions, particularly to small-scale farmers. And the aim is to deliver largely value chain solutions, because small-scale farmers are the most highly excluded groups of farmers in South Africa, actually in Africa as a whole. So we tailor our solutions to focus specifically on them. We have or at least there's largely a belief that small-scale farmers only suffer from one type of problem, which is access to land. But that is actually not so much true, because most small-scale farmers actually have access to large amounts of land, but they cannot use that land productively because they lack all the value chain solutions, starting from access to market, access to finances, and also the skills to produce on the commercial level. Sorry. So we started our journey in 2015. The idea started from, I'm from a township called Pushback Ridge in Mpumalanga, which is semi-rural and semi-township. So there, the people that have that own houses, that we own very large amounts of yard spaces in our home. So me and a friend of mine who is also the co-founder, we came up with the idea looking at the amount of land that existed in people's backyards that was lying dormant, doing nothing. So funny enough, when we started, we believed that we could actually produce enough food in all of these backyards combined to feed both local communities in terms of local market sales, and also try to penetrate a bit of formal retail. And so that's how our journey started, right? And in the first year of formation, of course, when we started the business, we started with raising some startup capital from family members. To this day, I'm still trying to remember how we came up with that first 29,000 rand that we spent to buy some seedlings for, because our main crop when we started was garlic. So money for the crops, for the labor, and all the tools that we needed to start, because we started with our own backyards in my grandmother's house and my co-founder's mother's house. And so 8 years through that year, we managed to attract a bit of attention from the South African breweries. Now AB InBev, they had a CSI project. So they joined us in the mission to try and turn our 2 backyards into 5 in our local community. But by the end of that year, unfortunately, SAB had already started restructuring for the AB InBev acquisition, which completely disrupted our financial flows. And the bad news about that was, by the end of that year, we had lost a lot of money, but invaluably so, we had learned a lot of lessons about the farming business. And that was the key takeaway from our first 2 years of experience. We realized, firstly, how capital intensive it is. We realized that price is determined externally, so we needed a lot of scale, which means backyards were not going to work. And we needed to first have market access before we plant anything. We needed the knowledge of the industry. We needed to build the right relationships in order to try and solve all of this above, because we were just a startup, you know? So fast forward a bit to 2018, we managed to be, because in the process, we managed to work with a lot of small scale farmers around. So we pivoted to working with them instead. And we took our story to the Global Student Entrepreneurship Awards, and we managed to go and represent South Africa in Canada. This was in 2018. So just a summary of our solutions. Overall, what we do digital extension and advisory. We do crop production plans, we do machinery recommendations, we do irrigation, fertilization, and in the nature of how we deliver our services, because we partner with these small scale farmers, we also deliver the skills training and development there. And farming is largely traditional amongst small scale farmers. So the overall vision for the company is to actually put the entire production cycle, all the way from planting to market, on an app. And this is very possible because we had already determined the algorithms that we need in terms of what to plant, when to plant it, how much fertilizer to put, how much water you need, when to put it, pesticides control, how to harvest, when to harvest it. And what is missing now is only the development of the app, because the overall process we do in our normal delivery of services. So that's where the future of the business is going. In terms of the team, we are currently 3. 2 of them are crop scientist and a soil physicist. They are also my co-founders. And in terms of backing, we also managed to build a team of advisory board. These are people that have been in the industry for a very long time, and we work with them in terms of consultations. One is in business development. We also have a professor in soil agronomy.
Deborah, you have a minute to wrap up.
Yes, so that's basically the makeup of our team. Thank you.
Thank you, Tebogo Tumelo. Please note that you only have 5 minutes to pitch. So please be mindful of your time. And then once you're left with a minute, we'll interject and just to let you know that you're left with 1 minute. Thank you very much, Tumelo.
Thank you.
Next, can David, are you ready, David? Are you in here? Please raise your hand if you are in here, because I know there's someone who notified me that they will be able to join us at 2. So if you're available, please just let me know once I call your name up, and then we can continue. So the next up is David. Okay. Next, Nathan. Hello.
Sorry, hi guys, I'm here. I was on mute.
Okay. So your 5 minutes starts, yeah.
Oh,
right
just give me a second. I just want to share screen very quickly.
Right.
I'm going to stop the other participants' share screen. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, and I just want to take this to enter to full screen. Okay. Can you guys see my presentation deck?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, everybody, my name is Matthan Naidu, and I'm the CEO and founder of Snow Technologies. The World Economic Forum lists cybercrime as one of the top 10 risks facing mankind. Today, we spend almost, by 2021, we will spend almost $1 trillion combined globally on cybersecurity. In stark contrast, we would have lost up to about $6 trillion to cyber criminals. A more innovative solution is required. The problem is that we live in a hyper-connected world. My shoes connect to my watch, connects to my phone, and we all connect to each other. Securing this kind of heterogeneous architecture is a challenge. You can't install an antivirus on a fridge. You can't install an antivirus on a phone. And the traditional signature-based technologies that help us solve these problems are too reactive. We can't predict every kind of attack that happens and proactively respond, or can we? So at Snow, what we did is we used mathematics. And essentially, we try to help people proactively respond to cyber attacks. How we do this is we essentially have 3 features. Number 1, we can take data from any source in any format at internet scale. Number 2, we can actively identify cyber attacks, fraud, and other forms of negative digital risk predictively, allowing you to respond proactively. This is just a simple example for a mining client which runs all the traditional security controls today and the amount of attacks and value that we added in the environment. In 2016, we wanted to show the power of our predictive analytics engine, and we took the fees must fall student agenda, and we took all the social media from Facebook, we took all the social media from Twitter, And what we wanted to do is we wanted to show that we could predict when a group of protesters would turn violent. What was an interesting side effect, to our surprise, we found there was a lot of state involvement in Fees Must Fall. And we published that research, and a year later, the Mail and Guardian wrote an article that confirmed what we were saying was true. Today, our technology can be found across 6 continents in over 70 client environments. It's all homegrown technology from the hardware to the software built here in South Africa. Just in terms of our growth, from the year we've launched, which was November 2016, we've grown year on year by about 100%. And this year we're on target to do about $2 million US. And I'm hoping that next year we double to around about $4 million US. I mentioned the size of the cybersecurity market. I don't want to sort of stress on it, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be cognizant of the time. But Snowed essentially provides superior threat detection. And the market in which we play with some of the best in the world, right? We play with the likes of Cisco, we play with the likes of IBM. And in the markets where we compete with such products, like South Africa, we have an equal footprint in terms of client distribution. Our team today is around about 33 cybersecurity analysts. My partners were E&Y Entrepreneur of the Year award winners. Snowed in itself was the winner of the Best Innovation African Award. Last year, we've been finalists in Apps Africa, in the Startup World Cup, and most recently, we've been invited as a finalist to the South African Innovation Summit. I'd like to thank everybody for their time, and I look forward to any questions you may have.
Thank you, Nathan. So our judge, if any of our judges have any questions, please take the floor. Gele?
So, Nathan, is it?
Yes.
What would you say is innovative about your offering?
So we use mathematics, which is unlike any one of our competitors. Our competitors, typically, it's like your antivirus at home. It looks for a signature in a piece of malware, which it uses to detect that malware. We don't. We can look at anything from video to voice, to audio, to text. And we can find patterns in the information by converting everything to numbers and then using mathematics to identify anomalies.
Why should you be the winner?
To threat detection. Sorry,
why should you be the winner for this competition?
I believe we have a technology that has a truly unique value proposition, and cybercrime hurts everyone globally. But more importantly, around Africa, we have certain social evils like crime, like disease. And my technology can help prevent crime by predicting it. We can help identify patient zero in a viral outbreak. We can help stop social evils like human trafficking, other social evils like acts of terrorism. And these are not issues that just plague our continent and hurt us here at home, but they're issues that are global. And I believe we can predict a cyber attack, and we've shown that we can predict crime. We can predict all these other scenarios if we have access to that kind of data, and we can coordinate our efforts along with sovereign security, national security, and the governments and the relief agencies and those efforts. Winning the competition would help us take this message to the world.
Thank you. No more questions from me.
Thank you for the question.
Thank you very much, Nathan, for your question. Dr. Tisetso Lepoto just asked, she got disconnected, but she'll be back. So her question is, what is your strategy to market entry?
So because we've got a global base, we use, and we're selling predominantly B2B at the moment. we use a channel market, a channel partner strategy. And for example, in South Africa, one of our channel partners is PWC, which is one of the big 4 firms. We also have a channel partner in terms of defense, like Milcor, and we use these channel partners essentially to get our technology into the market. So they perform, they allow us to scale and help us to scale. So today, if you buy a PWC managed service in cybersecurity, it actually runs in the back of our technology. This is the way and the mechanism that we sort of go to market through these partnerships, strategic partnerships.
Thank you very much. And Dumelo, I'm sorry, there's a question for you as well from Dr. Disetso Lepoto. She asked, how do you aim to make profit in the next 3 years? Dumelo. Oh. You've muted yourself. Please unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah. So as I had mentioned, maybe because I was running through, it might not have been clearer. But at the moment, so what we are doing is we have a network of 23 small scale farmers that we are working with. They are based in largely in Gauteng, in Mpumalanga, also in Limpopo. So what we do is most of these small scale farmers currently, on average, they'll have 10 hectares and above, but at most they'll be using about 2 hectares of that land because of the constraints that I had mentioned, access to finance, access to markets, the skills to actually produce, of which those 3 things are interrelated. And you cannot solve one problem and not solve the other, right? So what we do is we partner with these small scale farmers. We develop business cases based on the land availability that we have, the skills that we can bring to the table, the partnerships that we have built with market access. Then we raise finances to produce on more of the land that they currently have. So we'll grow it from a 2 to an 8 hectare, for an example. And we then share in the profits of that produce. Usually we do a 5-year cycle, right? So that's in the near term. That's how we'll be making our profits. And then with the profits, then will be reinvested into building the digital platform.
Thank you very much, Dumelo. Next is Shaylee. Please introduce yourself and 5 minutes. Please let us know if you want to share your screen so we can start your 5 minutes immediately after you're ready.
So very much. I would like to share my screen if possible, please.
Okay.
Campuses in South Africa, Zimbabwe, Mexico, and Sri Lanka. And we really, of that 4 million students, only 68,000 of those students came from developing countries. So our focus is really to try and bridge that inequality gap and offer more opportunities to students from developing countries to have international education opportunities, global interaction, and networking opportunities. So we also work together with corporate companies, professionals, graduate students, and communities in transforming jobs into careers with purpose, and really, as I said before, bridging inequality gaps. How we do this is through virtual or hybrid sustainability incubators. These incubators focus on education for graduates, training and development and consultation for organizations and professionals, assistance with integrating sustainability and a sustainable development mindset into corporate culture, and then actual real impact by working on projects with grassroots organizations and communities and tackling the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So the difference between a virtual and a hybrid model is some of our incubators are fully online and virtual, and some of them are partly online and then partly hosted in a host country and doing hands-on practical work with the community, depending on the wishes of the corporate organization and what their goals and objectives are. So who benefit from these incubators? Well, corporates and professionals. We assist them in becoming more sustainable. We provide certified qualifications in sustainable development from an internationally recognized institution. We can assist them in becoming B Corp certified, and they have access to consultants in niche topics and experts in niche topics. Graduates benefit in getting access to scholarships, opportunities for international education, mentorship, practical skills development, and improvement in key global competencies. And then local communities gain access to specialized skill sets and resources through professionals that we work with and train, and then obviously graduates as well as our experts and consultants. The outputs from our incubators are increased knowledge in sustainability and certification from an internationally recognized institution, practical skills development in sustainable best practice through application in real-time project implementation, professional development via career coaching and improved key global competencies, real impact for local communities addressing local challenges in a sustainable way, and then global collaboration and networking. Our team of specialists include a sustainability consultant with a master's degree in sustainable development and 15 years experience in the field, working across the globe in multiple countries. Professional career development from a career coach, which is myself actually, with over 20 years experience working with professionals as well as graduates and students from higher education institutions. And then a cohort of experts that we have partnered with that work in, that are specialists in renewable energy, plastic waste management, food security, and education and online virtual learning. Our revenue model is really to partner with corporate entities. We work with each entity and adjust the incubator to fit within their training budget as well as their CSR budget. So a part of the budget goes towards their own staff professional development consulting services should they require it, as well as assistance in B Corp certification if that's what they're looking for. And then CSR budget, which goes towards providing scholarships for students from developing countries, as well as community initiatives and grassroots organization for implementation of sustainable projects within local communities. Why is this important? If we look at the world today, 62% of executives consider sustainability strategy a necessity in order to be competitive. 89% of recent graduates in a poll that was done at the end of last year are searching to work for ethical companies and are really looking for careers with purpose. And the United Nations has stipulated in order for them to meet their 2030 agenda for the Global Sustainable Development Goals, we need to bridge the gap and collaborate between governments, private organizations, as well as grassroots organizations, community leaders, and communities. And so we've tried to bring all of these stakeholders together to work together in incubators so that we can address each of these components together in a collaborative format. Success so far. So far this year, we launched the company at the end of 2018. The reason for this is I've been working in this industry for about 20 years now, and I noticed so many students, I was working with so many students from developed countries, and I wanted to open up a platform and an opportunity to really improve student mobility from developing countries with a particular focus on Africa. So far, we've awarded 150,000 Rand in scholarship opportunities and international education opportunities for students in Africa alone this year. We are currently collaborating on 65 different sustainable development projects in multiple countries across the globe. And with regards to growth potential, if we can just take on 3 new corporates for next year, that means we can take on 3 new communities and projects in 3 new communities, as well as provide international education opportunities for further 30 graduates just next year alone. We've also won the award last year, the People's Choice Award for the Higher Education and Study Abroad program on Go Abroad platform after just 1 year in operation. So I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Diso.
Sorry, I have a question. Hello, how are you? So my question is, what would you say is your competitive advantage? What separates you from your competitors and people in your industry?
So far, our competitive advantage is really focused on diversity and inclusion. Historically, study abroad opportunities have really been dominated by students from developed countries, or only 1 or 2 countries being represented. So far, every single cohort that we have run has been 50% represented by students from developing countries. Over and above that, we have always had a virtual component to our programs, which sets us apart. We're not just scrambling to add an online learning platform. We have from the beginning operated in an online and virtual space in order to assist African students become competent, comfortable, and confident working in a virtual environment.
That's it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your presentation, ma'am. So if you were to summarize for me what your offering is in a sentence, cover for me what, why, who, and how in a sentence. So Evolve Abroad SA in just one sentence.
So we a training and development center that collaboratively works across the globe on promoting sustainable development.
Okay. I didn't get the who and how part of it though. I wanted you to just sum it up for me, covering all your key points, like who you're doing it for and why and how, yeah.
So we work with multiple stakeholders, graduate students, corporates, as well as communities. We are the bridge. We bring all 3 stakeholders together to collaboratively learn about sustainable development and collaboratively work on the global challenges so that we get the perspective through a different lens, through a corporate lens, through a graduate new leadership lens, as well as through a community grassroots level lens.
Where do you see the program in 5 years?
Beg your pardon?
Where do you see the program in 5 years?
In 5 years, I would like to expand our campuses. So I would love to have a campus in each developing country, if possible. So each campus is supported by, the campus is partnered with local organizations, corporate organizations, and I would love to have a campus in every developing country, if possible.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Next up is Claiborne.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to share my screen with you guys. So let me just get that up.
Please make sure that you keep within the 5 minutes framework. When you're left with a minute, I will interject just to let you know that you're only left with 1 minute. Thank you.
Right. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome.
We can't hear you.
Okay, so ladies and gents, what you just experienced was just a few seconds in the life of a deaf individual, having an opportunity and a medium to communicate by, but unfortunately not being or understood rather. I introduced you Deaf Touch. We have a vision to enable and to empower, which means that the deaf community now will have the opportunity to come into the mainstream of economic activity through our digital platform. Now, the problem at the moment that the deaf community face is that in South Africa alone, 5% of our population form part of the deaf community. Amidst just a few of the problems that they currently are facing, there's learning barriers, employment opportunities, digital inclusion. There at the moment is no plausible communication and that has left them excluded from economic activity. This gives us an estimate of over 4 million deaf people currently experiencing this problem. Some of the extended challenges are access to financial services, education, general communication, and also digital inclusion. Our value proposition is that we are the first of its kind in the African market. We enable any business, whether in the private or the public sector, to get access to new markets through specialized call center services for visual, wireless communication to support sign language. We are also an enabler for remote-based communication with the deaf, remote working for deaf staff, and also we enable an exponential growth factor for any organization due to the indirect marketing benefit that exists. We also assist businesses with improved BEE scores as a result of employing a deaf person. And most importantly, we are focused at sustainable job creation for the deaf market in line with the National Development Plan for 2030. Now, what our service is in short, DeafTouch is a platform with a comprehensive set of secure standards-based advanced communication tools comprised of server-side software and apps for most major operating systems that can be instantly deployed and configured to meet any communication requirement. It is cloud-hosted, web-based, scalable, customizable, user-friendly, and built on international telecommunication standards, so it's reachable from most video endpoints in use today, including our very own personal universal communicator, which you download and via any smartphone app. This enables deaf-to-deaf call center capability for any business in any sector, where a deaf person from our app downloaded on the smartphone will call into any call center-based business and have a call answered in real-time video and in sign language. Should that not be the case and they are in need of an interpreter in any space, our video relay service enables them to call in a remote-based interpreter and have a deaf person communicate to a non-deaf while there is a virtual interpreter available. Should none of these options be available or readily available, we then also are able to communicate to any deaf person via our speech-to-text services enabled through our platform. It enables e-learning, face-to-face education. Close to my heart is security and emergency services such as 10111 or the ambulance. And in the private sector, we allow for any financial institute in any business, retail, tourism, public investment, it doesn't matter. The deaf are now able to communicate directly with these services in a language that they understand, which is South African Sign Language, now the official 12th language of our beautiful Rainbow Nation. A few of our achievements: we are currently a participant via the Innovation Hub of the Maxim Business Incubator. We have also secured a development partnership with VTC Secure. We're currently also on the BPI France 1000 entrepreneurs globally due to being an innovative startup. And one of our most prized accomplishments is the fact that we secured the services of CETA, which is the government's agency for technology, where our platform will be rolled out in all public services across South Africa on a national level. We are looking to raise 3 million rand in funding with an internal rate of return of 125%. We are looking to make over 14.2 million rand in revenue in the next year and projecting over 34 million in the next 5 years, breaking even within less than a year. We have an experienced team from various sectors in business, private as well as corporate, in IT, in finance, as well as marketing and development. So quite a lot of experience across the board, making sure that our product is then able to grow and scale from South Africa into the rest of Africa and then also the world. So DeafTouch, ladies and gents, we do believe we can give a voice to the deaf and give others the tools to listen. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we have a question from Muzi. He asked, how are you ensuring that you reach your target market?
Okay, so we are a B2B business. So we are currently marketing directly to businesses. But one of our biggest factors in terms of go-to-market is to ensure that we influence legislation. which is one of the duties and benefits of being an incubatee at the Innovation Hub, and they are assisting us with that, so that both in the private and the public sector, we are able to get our product to market. Keeping in mind, like I said, we are B2B, but we are seeking to get the end user, being the deaf, to benefit the most. So that is our strategy getting into market. Keeping in mind, like I said, we are in the process of the procurement process for CETA, and that will see our service and product rolled out nationally in all the public services domain.
Thank you very much. Any of our judges?
Please take me through the how again of your product. I understand that you are assisting the deaf to be integrated. Take me through the how.
Okay, so we are a digital platform. So what that simply means is that a deaf individual, the end user, will go onto their smartphone, whether it's iPhone or Android, and they will download our personal universal communicator app. Because we are B2B, we will then also enable on the end of the business, let's call it 10,1 in this case. 10,1 will employ a deaf person able to speak sign language, and via real-time video, the deaf person can call into this service. So, Kelly, just for a second, if you take your smartphone for me quickly. All right, dial 10,1 on your smartphone. But before you click dial, just picture for 2 seconds that you're a deaf individual. Exactly, so you can't make that call. So Deaf Touch then on your end would have the smart app. You would call in via real-time video, keeping in mind that our app, and this is what sets us apart from any competitor in the market at the moment, such as Zoom, Microsoft Teams, or even WhatsApp video call, is that we specifically aimed at call center-based businesses and enable the entire call center call flow and background to operate on the business end, so that once you as the deaf person make that call, the business is able to answer it, and via live video, they can then speak sign language. Alternatively, call in an interpreter, and there can be a 3-way call that takes place with an interpreter live in the call.
And your revenue model?
Okay, so we will be selling our licenses to businesses, and that's how our revenue is then. We're license-based software, so they will purchase licenses from us.
Licenses to businesses, corporate?
Yes, correct.
So you're not necessarily targeting your average Joe on the street?
No. The reason for that is we want to make this service as affordable for the deaf end user, because currently they do suffer from a huge and high unemployment rate. So the average earnings is not as high as the average South African. So we would ideally like to ensure that it is free to the end user. We are currently in negotiations with one of the largest telecommunications companies in Africa, in fact, who will assist us in ensuring that we get the call rates as low as possible to the end user.
What stage are you on now? Prototype? Pilot?
Product is complete. We're ready to go to market.
Market ready?
We're market ready, completely market ready. As I said, we are also in the procurement phase currently with CETA to have the service rolled out on a national basis. So we are ready to go to market.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
The next person, Nkuleko, if you're ready.
Hello, yes, I'm ready, thank you. I'm just gonna share the screen quickly. Can everybody see my screen? Hello, can everybody see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, I'll start now then. Good afternoon, everyone. And we are WI Legacy Technologies. My My name is Ngululeko Ngasana. I'm the founder and CEO of the company. And we are here today to talk to you about how we plan to contribute towards bridging Africa's digital divide. So what are we doing? We are building a digital solution that enables access to all government services, which is easy to use, secure, and multi-channel in nature, which means it can be accessed by all citizens from any location. It helps government departments to reduce cost and the time that it takes to process applications. And by applications, we're talking things like, are you applying for a birth certificate or an ID or a passport or whatever the case may be. Our solution addresses real problems that real people face with some serious implications. There's three main problem areas that we are focused on currently. One is processing inefficiencies. Now, if you can imagine, when you have a newborn child and you live in the farms or whatever the case may be, and you have to register for a birth certificate, often what that means is you must go to a home affairs office somewhere far out or in a town or whatever the case may be. They're often crowded, which is obviously not ideal right now with the current pandemic situation. But also in Africa, truly speaking, people are laborers and they earn per hour. So being out of work for an entire day means severe loss of income. On the government department side, technology is expensive. The manual processing of transactions itself is expensive. And then obviously fraud and corruption costs us billions of rand and it affects the most vulnerable in our societies. From a security perspective, we're really speaking to manual systems, unintegrated systems, which really talks to the question of data integrity and the inaccurate profiling of citizens. I mean, even a simple task of managing indigent policies in our municipalities is a challenge. So Africa has 54 states and 38 of those have no access to e-services. And that means over 700 million people are actually excluded in one way or the other. And this is according to the UN. Furthermore, just north of 50 million of our citizens work and live in a country where they were not born. Africa attracts 70 odd million visitors per annum, and we have about 500 million undocumented citizens. All these people have one thing in common, is that they need access to services from the government. So the market is estimated at about just under $200 billion. So our vision then is to improve accessibility of these services to millions of African citizens worldwide while ensuring security and cost savings for governments. And this is where our solution comes in, which we call MyTR3, which is a people mobility and e-services platform that allows for citizens or foreigners or citizens in the diaspora to apply for anything from a visa to a permit. It has data-driven workflows that individualizes tasks to actually help people complete them easier. And most importantly, it has a powerful risk management engine to improve security vetting and screening. As you can see on the screen here, these are just some screens from the application where the citizen could literally come in and pick a service, then register a profile, then they would have to fill out some forms based on the SLA with the particular government and upload some supporting documentation, and then make a payment or redeem a voucher. These are screenshots of what the official in the backend would see. They would log on and then be able to pick from a basket of services and also draw some reports. Our revenue model is quite simple. We charge a fee per transaction. We are volume dependent and country specific. We rely on partnerships. And we also run a channel model to help us with reach throughout the continent. So we've come a long way since we started. And I think the most important thing I want to raise here is that we've managed to secure resellers in key territories and also have 2 firm letters of interest. And we recently got an invite to do a POC for an ID digitization program for schools. We have a very strong, fantastic team with over 30 years experience. And we also have a highly skilled advisory board consisting of our strategic partners and subject matter experts. Henry Ford said, "A business that makes nothing but money is a poor business," and we agree. So we enter this competition because we're looking for investors, partners, and advisors who are passionate about improving people's lives, just as we are passionate. I'm sure every single one of us has had an experience with a relative or themselves trying to apply for a government service, and we know just how difficult it is in our continent. Thank you for your attention, and I'm open for questions.
Thank you very much, Nkululeko. Muzi asked, given the prize money, how would you go about investing back into your business?
Okay. So that would be really key for us. And it's not just about the prize money for us. I think it's really also about the networks and the connections that we can make through this platform. But the money would really be used to really further enhance the capabilities of the solution. It will be used for us to help with the partner program and our marketing efforts to ensure reach into the continent. We are targeting sub-Saharan Africa, so not just South Africa. The money would really come in handy in ensuring that we build a solution that is solid. We also plan to put the solution through its paces in terms of tests and independent auditing to ensure that it's compliant with the different data regimes, throughout the region. So that money would be used as part of that process as well.
So, Ndate Nkululeko,
Yes,
I get your what, but I'm trying to picture the who and how. Like I see what the problem is. I see how, say, in South Africa, Home Affairs, right, as an example. I see all those issues and all the things that you have raised according to your what.
Sure.
But how? You're talking transactional, like $9 to $25. So who exactly is your client?
So our clients are the government departments, so the ministries of Home Affairs or the ministries of immigration or whatever the case may be.
Okay,
right?
that's
those,
fine.
Those are our clients. Okay.
And then let's talk the how.
Okay. So the how is the system is a cloud-based application, right? Which those clients of ours can then subscribe to. They literally can come onto the application and pick a service that they want to deploy. So let's give a simple example. They want to do an e-visa program. The Ministry of Immigration would then subscribe and become our client. And then they'll be able to expose their ability for people or travelers or whatever the case may be to then apply for a visa via the platform. In the front end, it can be masked to reflect the government's branding or whatever the case may be. So we just enable it at the back end. I hope that makes sense. And then for internal services, what we've come up with is for kiosks, for example, to be deployed in the rural areas to allow citizens access to the application, even where they do not have computers or smartphones or whatever the case may be. So we would bring the service closer to citizens, again, through that particular Ministry of Home Affairs or Interior.
So I'm trying to look at it from a point of, let's take typically our Home Affairs here in Pretoria, right?
Sure.
And we have long lines or whatever, but then they have systems themselves, right?
Sure.
Because then otherwise we wouldn't have IDs and all those things that you are mentioning. So
100%.
what I'm battling to see is how you are going to win them over to then migrate to what you are offering, because they already do have their own system. And how different is what you are offering to what they are offering? Because sometimes it's not even so much the system as it is the people behind the systems.
Sure.
So what becomes your value proposition that makes it so unique that Home Affairs must just throw out what they are currently using and migrate to what you're offering?
Sure. So maybe just as a precursor to answering your question. So Home Affairs was my client for the longest time because I used to run well, until recently, actually, I used to run a business unit for a multinational that was actually involved with the modernization of the Home Affairs environment in South Africa specifically. So it's an environment that I'm quite familiar with. So having said that, our expectation is not for governments to throw out any systems that they currently have where they do have them. Our focus, though, to be quite fair, is that 60 to 70% of the countries in sub-Saharan Africa, that actually fall within the spectrum of not having the ability to deliver those kind of services. So that's our primary focus. Home Affairs, South Africa, and a few other countries like Botswana and a few others like Egypt and so on are a little bit more advanced. So they would fall in tier 2 in terms of our target market. But even they can benefit from our solution.
Okay.
We did a calculation of the cost of service delivery with Home Affairs, for example, for the cost of service delivery when you apply for an ID. I'm sure you would know that you pay 160 Rand, I think it is now, for your ID, but it's actually heavily subsidized by government. And the reason for that is that the cost of delivering the service from the time you apply and to the time that they actually print the ID at government printers, it's actually a lot higher than what us as citizens are paying. So the value that we actually bring is that we can actually help them lower the cost of service delivery, which is the communication or the value that we talk about when we talk to countries that are a little bit more advanced. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, thank you. So why do you think you should win this competition?
Okay. Look, I think we have lived, my team and I, we have lived this. You have lived this challenge. And as Africans in most countries, we continue to live this every day. And I think for us, it's not just the technology. It's really about improving people's lives and improving the dignity and ensuring inclusion. So we're not just a business, we're a social enterprise in a way. And I think we'll make a massive difference in the continent's digitization journey. And so I think we really should be considered strongly to win. Sorry, Dr. Tiseto.
Thank you for your wonderful presentation. I just want to know, what is your unique selling point? And also, I want to understand more about the sustainability of your project, highlighting your value proposition.
Sure. So to explain the unique selling point, I think I have to maybe touch on the competitive landscape a little bit. Obviously, it's a market that where there's already some players, most of them very large multinationals, but they're quite heavily reliant on heavy infrastructure. So much so that, for example, a company like VFS, which is a leader in the space, they cannot really do ID services because they're reliant on charging foreign nationals in different countries huge sums of money to be able to have the benefit of the convenience of their service. Ours is a lot more inclusive, and we've designed the system specifically for it to be low cost and to lower the cost of the service delivery. So our unique selling point, I suppose, is the fact that it actually has the capacity to be really, really low cost. And because it's volume dependent, our clients get to benefit from a volume-based ecosystem, which means those discounts are then passed on to the clients, the more volumes that we actually take through the system. Did I answer the question clearly?
Yes, you did. Thank you. I'm just wondering, can we do without your services? Can we?
I think not in the future of Africa's digitization. We should be core to everybody's life.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lupoto.
All right, thank you very much. Next, can you please have David? David, hello. Hello. Okay, so let's move to someone else. Aubrey.
Hi, thank you much, Lati. I'm going to share my screen just now.
Thank you.
Can I just get confirmation that everyone can see that?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, great. I'll start just now. Good day, everybody. I'm Malebundiza, the founder and CEO of Spandula. Thank you once again for the opportunity to present to you our innovative goals and objectives. Spandula is an innovative mobile and web application that's bridging the digital skills gap in South Africa by providing unemployed young people from the rural areas and townships convenient access to technology skills training and job opportunities. 76% of the businesses in the country find it challenging to recruit technology skilled talent, whereas more than 57,000 young people signed a petition agreeing that the digital divide excludes the majority of young people in our country from accessing information on jobs and education resources in the technology industry. Now, our research shows that there are more than 5 physical training centers across the country that provide technical skills training and access to job opportunities. However, there are only 2 online learning platforms, both of which don't reach young people in the rural areas and townships, and both aren't possible for the young people we're targeting to use if they don't have data or they're in an area that has low, bad network connection. And the physical centers are also restricted to location, so they don't reach enough young people. So we are proposing a solution that grants convenient access to technology skills training and job opportunities for unemployed youth in the rural areas and townships of South Africa. And as you can see in the screen, this is basically just the version of our web application. So Spandula will be a cloud-hosted web and mobile application that will be built to work if a user doesn't have data or in an area with bad network connection, such as the rural areas. And how it works is that a young person will sign up, create a profile, and then start their courses. And as soon as they complete an assignment, it is added onto their portfolio, and then recruiters will be able to contact them for possible job opportunities or internship opportunities. So we target to capture, our niche market is worth 22 million rands compared to the overall ICT industry market in South Africa that is worth 273 billion rands. And we target to capture the Southern African market and expand into West African countries such as Ghana and Sierra Leone, as well as East African countries such as Kenya and Tanzania. And these specific countries are chosen because we currently have existing partnerships in those countries with individuals and organizations who are willing to work as distributors and influencers of Spandula. So our ideal users are young unemployed people from the townships and rural areas. However, recruitment officers of public and private organizations will also use Spandula to find and recruit tech-skilled talent. We are currently gaining traction by conducting surveys and information sessions to understand the needs of our users. And when launching the application, we'll use multiple growth hacking techniques to not only acquire more than 1,500 users in the first year, but also to raise awareness and create brand authority. And these growth hacking techniques will be emails, social media, content marketing, as well as voice and video calls. In a period of 5 years, we target to have a total of 6,000 users, fill up more than 5,000 jobs in the technology sector, and expand to more than 15 countries in Africa while accumulating up to 22 million rands in revenue. And our growth and release of new features within Spandula is highly dependent on the success of our growth hacking techniques, which I had spoken about earlier on. And just briefly breaking down our financials, we plan to make 300,000 rands in the first year after breaking even within 10 months of starting operations. And as you have a proper look, going forward, that's basically how we anticipate growth as a startup. The team building Spandula is myself, Malebundiza, as a sales and marketing guru, as the chief executive officer. We've got Nhlanhla Ndlovu, who's building Spandula as our chief technology officer, and Andisa Ramanyimi leading the data-driven strategy of the business. And we also have Mr. Khodolo, who's our advisor and mentor. We require a minimum of 1.1 million rands to start Spandula and expand it into a pan-African technology company that's bridging the digital skills gap, which will be split between sales and marketing, technology infrastructure, as well as legal and administrative expenses. For more information on this wonderful idea, you're more than welcome to contact us on the contact details that are provided. Thank you very much for the opportunity once again. I will welcome everyone's questions now.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your brilliant presentation. We actually do need a lot of initiatives like the one that you just presented. I would just like to know if I do invest in your business, what will be the return?
Hi, Dr. Tisetso. I didn't catch the last bit of your question, but if I heard correctly, you were asking about the return on investment, right?
Yes, how would you determine the return of investment?
Okay, great. So this is not something that I actually haven't mentioned in our pitch, but we have looked at things such as our cap table, and currently Kakanyo is solely owned by myself, meaning any investor that does come on board will then gain access to equity, meaning that I will then become diluted by that investor. And every investor that I speak to with regards to this, I always let them know that no matter how many people are within Kakanyo or how many investors are within Kakanyo, giving away equity in return for investment is not really a train smash for myself, because I'd rather have 5% of a valuable business that's actually creating the impact that it's supposed to create, as opposed to having 100% of just an idea. I'm not sure if I've actually answered that question. So just to sum up what I just said, your return on investment would then be the equity as well as the dividends that would come from the equity. Have I answered your question?
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Maybe a comment from myself as well. I agree with Dr. Tisetso that this is such a valuable program. We need so many more of this, and you are right. There's so many people just concentrating on the side of the easier to reach as opposed to going out to the rural. Your landing page may not look like the screenshot that you showed me, because then you addressing rural, but you are showing as urban with those not even South African or African for that matter. So just talk to your brand, align yourself at any given time so that everything just speaks to your target, because your selling point is that you're addressing the digital divide. And as a result, everything must just coincide. So why should you win?
Okay, so firstly, thanks a lot for the insight that you've given. And to be honest, with regards to the branding side of things and the marketing, and making sure that it's a story that speaks to our exact target market, because we are a team of technologists, and myself being sales and marketing expert, we are still basically in the learning phase with regards to the type of wording that we should use when approaching our target market. And we actually are working with some of the young people who have shown interest, and they are basically helping us out with those. So I'll be honest and say that the landing page I showed you is an old version. The one that's currently being worked on hasn't been published. So thanks a lot.
It was a note, not a question. Just accept, take it and answer. Why should you win?
Okay, so the reason why I believe that we should win is it's very understandable that bridging the digital skills gap in Africa is something that is of utmost importance, and it also speaks to the Sustainable Development Goals. And for us winning, it's not really just about the resources that we'll get, but the network that will be granted and the learning experience that will come from it. For example, you've just given us insightful information that we know immediately after this conversation, I can now go and implement and make changes to our landing page. So someone else might see that information as being very insignificant, but the information and the type of resources and the network that would be granted access to as part of this wonderful program would actually be very beneficial to us as a company.
All right, thank you very much. Please note that unfortunately, you can see that the time, it's 3 p.m. and unfortunately, due to the glitch that we had at 1 p.m., I think that's why we have time constraints. So if anyone has any meetings or any commitments right now, please let me know. And then I'll put you in so that you can leave. Thank you very much, Aubrey. Next, William. Hello, William.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
So let's share my screen. Hi there.
I can.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great. My name is Dr. William Matthan, and my dream is to bring universal healthcare to the world. I'm from the Eastern Cape, in a rural area, and my real passion is improving healthcare. However, I also specialize in ophthalmology, the public sector hospital in Cape Town. So I've got experiences working as a specialist as well. And we built the Vula mobile system to improve healthcare efficiencies, both in the primary market and also in the specialist area. We launched in 2014. In 2015, we won the most innovative app for the South African App of the Year competition. And last year, we won Best Health Solution. We've got increasing traction. So we started in 2014, and healthcare innovation does take time, but we're now almost doubling our users every year. In terms of repeated use, the number of patients helped per quarter is rising rapidly. And in the last month in August, we set a new record of 1,000 patients per day. We are loved by both the health professionals and the managers. This is just one of the quotes from one of the health workers in Khayelitsha Hospital, it's the township hospital, and just being able to contact the right person at the right time saves time, anxiety, and frustration. We're also supported by the Ministry of Health. It's with great pleasure that I introduce you to the Vula mobile medical referral system. We'd like to see the system grow to offer full national coverage. We're currently in 6 provinces and expanding. In terms of the team, we've got a quite nice diverse team. From the technical side, our CTO used to work at Samsung, Microsoft, Sky, and used to run Takealot as well. On the commercial side, we've got Dr. Anushka Kovaria, who does have a medical background, but she's also an actuary and a health economist, and used to run the commercial desk for KPMG. And then I come in on the medical side. For a staff of 13, we focused on diversity from the very beginning, and we're actually more female than male and equal black white at the moment, although we are hiring 2 more colored people in the near future. Our investors come from both local, African and international partners. What's happened in the world at large is that the time of COVID has become the best time for digital health innovation because everyone needed solutions. So we helped launch the Doctors on Call helpline. We had the largest helpline in South Africa with 150 doctors answering questions from the public. And if you or one of your colleagues or friends was referred to a COVID field hospital or an ICU, that referral happened on Vula. We've got recurring revenue in 4 streams so far. The first one is data science, except we call it data science made beautiful. So there's no point just giving people spreadsheets. You've got to make it understandable so that they can actually enjoy seeing their data as well. We also have advertising contracts. We have a government tender. And recently, our clinical tools are now available for sale online. So you can go and buy a vision test for yourself online. So essentially, we've been built in rural Africa and that's for the world, because if you have to become so data friendly, we actually made Vula 25 times, uses 25 times less data than WhatsApp. So it really can be used in deep rural areas where I'm from. The nice thing about Vula is rather than having one app for every single medical specialty, it's now in a growing number of apps, a growing number of specialties. It's in 50 specialties and used by 73 different types of healthcare. We've done an analysis of different regions of the world and the different types of revenues we will get from those regions. We've had invitations from 16 different countries in Europe, Asia, and Africa who they want to use Vula. And we reached the top 20 finalists for the Amazon City on the Cloud competition. So I really think that we need to share with the world how African innovation can provide universal healthcare. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
Thank
Hello?
you so much for your presentation. I would like to ask about accessibility. How do you address the issue of accessibility? Yes, of course, your app doesn't consume that much data, but in the rural areas, there's a lot of people who do without cell phones or smartphones, even afford 12 rands worth of data. So in order for you to effectively access the market, if I may put it that way, how do you address the issue of accessibility?
So Vula is designed to be used by health workers. So typically in the rural areas, there are community health workers or nurses or sometimes doctors. And those are the ones that your deep rural patients will see. And those people typically have cell phones. Vula is named after the Vula Medical Clinic in Swaziland, where we first had the idea. And that's because when we did our outreach programs, the community health motivators had better phones than us because cell phones were like a status symbol in that country. So when we first rolled out Vula, we realized that many of the community health workers and the nurses and the doctors all had smartphones. And this was back in 2016. We've seen an increasing number of health workers use cell phones now. So even if your patient doesn't have a cell phone, all they need to do is get in touch with their nearest health worker, who may well be a community health worker who's come to their home.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so my question is, given the global pandemic, has Vula been helpful in easing the services for the medical and practitioners that our doctors and stuff have? Has the app been helpful to them, given the global pandemic?
Yes. So back
And
when
to
we
what
first
extent?
happened, yeah, so we went to work at the National Institute for Communicable Diseases. And as the pandemic has evolved, we've actually had different COVID responses applicable to the different times. So right at the beginning, the biggest need was actually to educate the health workers on COVID because the health workers didn't know everything. The next two big waves were the public finding out about COVID, so public asking questions that the health workers had previously asked. The next wave was that we linked up with Dis-Chem and anyone could call in and get a free COVID test at their nearest Dis-Chem. So there was a testing phase. That was followed by the phase of actual patients being linked to COVID ICUs and COVID field hospitals. That's now also coming down to a close. And so as the pandemic has evolved, we've produced different responses. And the latest one that's being used the most now is COVID testing for health workers, because many of the health workers themselves have been exposed over the last month or so, and they've actually developed COVID. So we're trying to prevent as many deaths as possible. But it's been amazing to be part of the process where we've had to develop different types of services as the pandemic has evolved.
Great, great. So looking at post the pandemic, what are your plans for your business?
So I guess one of the best things about COVID is that we've got an increasing exposure of how to use the app because many more health workers are using it than ever before. So we're now expanding into more specialties. So currently in 50, we're aiming for 80, aiming for more types of health worker and then more people in each province across both the public and the private sector. And then, for example, this morning, we've had 2 meetings with the NHS in the UK. So we definitely want to expand outside of Africa, but also locally, the Lesotho Ministry of Health also approved Vula for use in Lesotho. So I hope to go back and work there soon as well.
Will, sorry, I actually also have another question. How do you make profit and how do you aim to diversify your value offering, especially also after COVID?
Yeah, sure. So what's quite nice is that we've got so much data now that we've got 2 data science contracts already running since January this year, looking at health data for various parties. We've got the government tender. So we do have the Western Cape tender for the referral system. And we're busy working with the National Department of Health on a national tender. Obviously, those contracts take a long time to negotiate, but they're important to do. We already have advertising revenue. So the advertising is extremely targeted. So if you want to target doctors, typically a company would put an advert in a journal, or they would go to a conference, whereas we can place adverts that are relevant to the doctors and the nurses while they're seeing patients with those conditions. So for example, when you refer a patient with tuberculosis, you're given an advert with a link to the latest drug and the latest guidelines on tuberculosis while you're at work, while you're thinking about those issues. So that's why the companies like to use our advertising. And then the clinical tools section is interesting because we launched our own vision test, which is available on the app, and you can download it, and you can pay for it online now. And then we're going to launch African skin diagnosis tool as well soon. Because we've got over 300,000 cases on Vula now. So we'll be able to develop non-racial dermatology tools. For example, they brought a skin algorithm from Sweden to South Africa, and it looked at burn wounds in particular. But a burn wound on Swedish skin is very different to a burn wound on African skin. So their system just didn't work. So we have an opportunity to create more appropriate machine learning and diagnosis tools that will be more useful for us in our own setting, as well as across the globe, and for people like that as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much, William.
Pleasure.
Are there more questions? All right, moving on. Julio, you're up next.
Cool. Hello, everyone. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So thank you for this opportunity. My name is Julio Araga, and I am from Desco Electronic Recyclers. We are an electronic recycling company, so we deal with e-waste. So what we essentially do is four items, which is recycling of electronic waste, ITAD, data destruction, and metal recycling. These, in terms of e-waste recycling, we are the biggest in South Africa at the moment. We've been in business for 28 years, and it is a family-run business, which is quite nice. We extend over 3 of the 4 value chains, which is collection and delivery to Desco, sorting and dismantling, and pre-processing. So we have mechanical plants on site that, after dismantling of different electronic components, we physically shred circuit boards that are in any kind of electronic item or unit, and we ship that overseas, and they can physically take precious metals out of the circuit boards. This process is known as urban mining because there's gold in urban products. Currently, we are on the third step, essentially. So we are looking for funds to do the metal recycling in South Africa and extract precious metals from e-waste. We would be the first in South Africa to do that, and because we have been the pioneers so far for the past 28 years. The second stage of what we do is data destruction. What will happen is any data-bearing device in electronics, whether it's a hard drive, SSD, anything like that, even cell phones, we have an on-site process where we serialize, we shred, and we shred it down to between 5 and 2 millimeters thin. So there's no opportunity for recovery. We offer this service to corporate businesses and individuals at a cost of 20 Rand a unit. And the reason it's so much lower than all our other competitors is because we do the e-waste recycling as well. So we are physically able to separate metals from waste products, like your actual circuit board, that's just a fiberglass part, and then we take the metals off it. So we can recover value back from that. Whereas other companies are charging 100 to 150 Rand a unit. And it's quite an expensive process when you have to quote a bank or insurance company and you end up going over hundreds of thousands of rands. So it's quite a unique offering that we have for data destruction. In terms of e-waste recycling and data destruction, we take chain of custody from all our clients. So what that means is that we'll issue you a certificate And that certificate means that should there be a problem whereby you find your e-waste dumped illegally, you can sue DESCO, let's say. But the reason we issue this is to promise you the responsibility that it'll be recycled properly. Because there's a lot of e-waste recyclers that are in South Africa and they give you false promises that they will recycle and they don't. And then let's say a massive corporate brand is on a landfill, it's going to a company that's using underage labor, they're using not the right equipment, and it's really not good. So we give you this certificate as a promise to say 100% of what you give me, I will take the responsibility on myself to recycle it. Our certification to be in this industry is quite a lot, actually. We have all the relevant waste licenses, which very few companies in South Africa actually have. There's 2 in Gauteng, 1 in KZN, and probably 1 in the Western Cape, and that's it with regards to e-waste. So there are a lot of players in the e-waste market, but very few of them adhere to the actual legislation that you have to be in this industry. We have a lot of synergy partners. When we talk about e-waste, we talk about anything with a plug or battery that's powered by electricity. That is anything electronic, from household appliances to servers, IT equipment, industrial equipment, anything that is electronic, we take and we recycle. So from our synergy partners, it ranges from clients in the banking industry, defense industry, we deal with schools, electronics manufacturers, any person, even any individual that has electronics, we give them the service. So yeah, that is pretty much us in a nutshell. And just to refer to some of your questions, there is a lot of potential in this market because I think in 2018, a statistic was released that there is approximately 50 million tons of e-waste worldwide, and less than 10% of it is recycled, well, formally recycled at least. And in South Africa, it's less than 5%. So there's a lot of potential in this market. There is a need for it because electronic waste is the fastest growing waste stream in the world. And there are very few players to solve this problem, and very few individuals and even businesses that are aware that it is a problem. So yeah, if you need to contact us, please do, and follow us on social media. That's me. Any questions?
Let me wait for our judges to ask any question. Muzi and Gele.
Dr. Tisetso, you can go ahead. Mine would just be a simple one otherwise that I've been asking almost everyone is, why should we pick you as the winner?
Because I think I'm the youngest in the room, perhaps. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I think the point that I ended off on is this is a problem. It's a problem industry, and one of our either BEE schemes or CSI projects is that we like to empower our own employees or even customers that come to us on a daily basis and say, listen, man, for you to get more money, right, when you want to sell to me, why don't you dismantle it? Why don't you target these kind of companies to generate a little bit more income? Sometimes we give them the capital. Well, actually we do. Currently we have 3 people on site that we've given them the capital to start their own businesses. And it's been successful. There was 10 before, but we go through a rigorous process of identifying which of them have the most potential. And some of them fail and some of them pass. But the thing is, it becomes quite an expensive exercise for DESCO. So my goal would be to, 1, use the funds to extend DESCO's value chain, which is to buy machinery to actually extract metals on site and be the first in South Africa. And then the second part would be to allocate some funds that we can actually uplift more recyclers, because our current base is in Gauteng. And the goal is to have a further reach in other regions. We have suppliers in other regions, Western Cape, KZN, all those places, but it would be nice to set up smaller recyclers that have lower costs to actually solve this problem. Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, all right, thank you. Moving right along. Lungile, if you're ready, please let us know.
Hi, thank you. I am ready. I'll start sharing my screen now. Good afternoon. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, then. Thank you very much. My name is Lungile Maile. I am the founder of Nubian Smarts. At Nubian Smarts, what drives us is our commitment to creating educational solutions that will not only engage, but also inspire the African child. Now, if we look at the market's landscape in terms of educational mobile games, there are a lot of them that are online. And the nice thing with educational mobile games is that they can be used all over the world. So even if you're in South Africa, you can use an educational mobile game that was designed in India, for example. But townships and rural areas have a significant problem, especially in our country and the sub-Saharan countries, is that we struggle with data cost. Data connectivity is very expensive. And secondly, the parents in townships and rural areas don't even trust the whole idea of putting their own banking details onto an online platform so that they can subscribe to these apps. So even though these apps are so good, there's no way for the parents in townships and rural areas to access them. Secondly, if you look in the foundation phase, you'll find that a teacher has to deal with 40 plus learners in a class. And these 40 plus learners, if on a daily basis, I'm teaching them the basics of mathematics, which are so critical for the future, how do I know which learners are being left behind? If you look in ECD centers, the problem is even bigger because in one class, there's kids that are as young as 3 years old, all the way to 5 years old, especially within the townships. And this teacher has to deal with all these children and make sure that they are all adequately prepared for grade R. This is where we come in. So what we have done is we've created an app. This app is based on the South African grade R to grade 3 mathematics curriculum. On one device, you can register multiple profiles. So if you are at a school or a home whereby there's more than one 7-year-old, like in my house, for example, there only needs to be one device that is used by all the kids for their own personalized access. On the game, the learners are able to collect rewards and they get stickers, and whilst being asked mathematics-related questions. Did I mention that once you've downloaded and logged in, that you do not need an internet connection to utilize our app? Oh, well, yes, we've made sure that that is a prerequisite in terms of us being able to service the markets that we are working in. The second thing that we found is, yes, the teacher still has that same problem. How do they know that child A is doing better than child B without doing a test? And how do you do a test for a grade R learner? So we send our brand ambassadors to the school where they facilitate learning through our app. They spend 2 hours per week coming with our devices and allow the kids to just play on the devices. The kids play for as little as 15 minutes per week. And what we have found is that within 4 weeks, the kids are able to have an improvement of just over 80%. What we do after the learners have played on our apps, we then provide a report to the teacher that allows them to better plan. So we are able to say, Mrs. Helen, in your class, child A does not know counting at all, but child B is doing well. Or even further, we are able to say 20% of the learners in this class got the lesson when you spoke about counting, but the other 80% don't. So maybe you might have to redo that lesson. So far, we've managed to gather 600 organic downloads of the app. We've got 253 active users. And through our revenue model of working directly with schools and having schools pay us for our weekly service, we've had one ECT center that started us paying us from April 2019 that had 15 learners in the class. In January 2020, we managed to sign on another 10 centers and had commenced trials with another 20 centers in Ekurhuleni. So in total, we had 31 centers that we were working with before government decided to commence with the COVID lockdown restrictions. We've been around for a little while. In 2017, our first version of the app was introduced onto the Google Play Store, and as such, we were part of the Google Developers Launchpad, which was hosted here in Johannesburg. We were also able to be part of the exhibitors at the Innovation Summit Inventors Garage. We've since grown from that time, also being recognized as one of the Inspiring 50 and 100 Shining Stars in Ekurhuleni. In 2019, last year, December, also participated as part of the Seed Stars regional competition and got third place. But most importantly, we managed to get a seed grant recipients from the SAB Social Innovation Fund. This year, we've been selected as one of the 1,000 Digital Africa entrepreneurs and are currently completing a fellowship program with the Africa Innovation Fellowship. Now, the market is huge. Just looking only at ECT centers.
Sorry, you have a minute left.
Okay, thank you. Just looking at the ECT centers, we are planning to address the 87% of ECTs where parents pay a fee of less than 3,000 rands a month. The team involves me. I have a background in FMCG and operations. Mbongeni Simelani is a mathematics teacher, and the brand ambassadors were our eyes and ears on the ground. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
Thank you so much, Lungile, for your great initiative. Indeed, education is a powerful tool to build communities and drive the economy. I would like to ask about, have you thought about expanding to other grades? Because I understand you're looking only at grade R to grade 3.
Yes, we have thought about it. But in terms of us being able to capture the market, we decided that it would be best to start off at the foundation phase and then slowly build up on our content offering for the other grades.
Okay, and how is your initiative different from others? Because I think I've seen something similar online.
Yes, so others are only online. IXL, SmartTick, 3P, only online, and all of them are not looking at townships and rural areas. I have yet to find somebody who's doing what we are doing in the rural areas and townships, mainly because they don't understand. First of all, they would just bring the app, of which if you just bring the app, schools don't have the devices to begin with as well. And the cost, the risk with regards to actually keeping devices at the school is also a huge cost for the school that they don't have. So in terms of that, and with regards to within the middle class, so suburban areas, there is 3P My son's school has 3P that they use, but I pay for the device and I pay for the app subscription as a parent.
That's great. Thank you so much, Lungile.
Thank you.
So the others have told us why they should win. So why do you think you are above them?
I think I should win because if we do not solve the mathematics problem at ground level, at foundation phase, at our townships and rural areas, then all these other solutions that we are talking about right now here will not have customers, because at the end of the day, we will be sitting there with kids that do not have that smart device in order to access the job opportunities. They're not going to be able to learn and study the IT-related courses because at foundation phase, we have not sorted out the mathematics issue that is there. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So the last person is Portia.
Hello, everyone. Hi, thank you so much. I just want to share my screen quickly. All right, it's viewable, right? Hello?
Yes, we can see it.
Perfect. So did you know 75 million people need a wheelchair on a daily basis? This represents 1% of the world's population. Good day, everyone. My name is Portia Rifua Mavungu, and I own a company called PRD Logical Solutions, where we focus on innovations for persons living with a disability. Now, in 2011, I had a major accident, which resulted in me being wheelchair bound. I felt like I lost my independence, I lost my dignity, because now I needed assistance from both my mother and granny to lift me off the wheelchair and put me onto the toilet. But then I thought to myself, if I'm going to be in the situation for a short period of time, what about those that's going to be in the situation for the rest of their lives? Now, the Paratube is a retrofitted seat that fits onto any existing wheelchair. It works together with disposable biodegradable bags, and it has a built-in toilet, ensuring independence and dignity to the end user. Now, who are our beneficiaries? Hospitals. We have, currently in South Africa, we have a shortage of nurses. So this product does not only speak to the individual that's using the seat, but it also speaks to social workers and nurses as well, and also putting a strain off them as well. Old age homes, right now in the COVID situation that we have, right, where our grandparents had to be isolated. And what about those that were in wheelchairs? How did they feel in order to go to the bathroom? How were they assisted? Aviation markets, there is no space for wheelchair accessibility or bathroom accessibility for a person that's wheelchair bound. We have schools and universities, we have businesses, we have to abide by the law. We have households as well, where you don't have to revamp your entire bathroom, or you don't have to put extras into your bathroom. You just can wheel yourself to a confined space, and you can use the bathroom independently and with dignity. Now, our team consists of 2 players, which is myself. I am the founder, I'm the innovator and the managing director of PRD Logical Solutions. And then I have my business partner, which is Durushna Charan, which is a co-founder. She's a lawyer by profession and the director of the company as well. Now, currently, how does a PRD Logical Solutions operate? Firstly, we own the IP, which we have registered currently in South Africa, strategically in the USA, because that's where our competitor lies, and as well as in China after visiting China and the medical industry last year. We received novelty from the Austrian patent office in the design of the product and how the product works. With regards to most of our resources, like our manufacturing, we have outsourced, and we've currently outsourced to one of South Africa's largest wheelchair manufacturing company, which is called Radical Mobility. Now, our supply chain, which we've already been in talks with, is CE Mobility, Radical Mobility, Shonaquip, Medcorp, etc. So we have directly approached wheelchair companies as our product is an add-on to wheelchairs. Now, this is a short description of our impact and our revenue streams for the next 6 months to 12 months. So currently we are in the testing phase. We have created 20 prototypes, which will be testing in this upcoming 6 months. And thereafter, once we have a working and proper prototype, we will be giving those 20 seats away, or yes, for those who need it. So our revenue, so the parachute seat, each seat will cost 2,800 Rand, and our manufacturing of a current seat is actually 500 Rand. With our disposable bags, our manufacturing currently is 150, and we'll be selling it in bulk to every pharmaceutical outlet at 350. So the sustainability, as you can see, of the product is the bag itself. And we're going to be creating a new world of independence for people and users, including the caregivers, and assisting with elimination of shortage of nurses in South Africa. And just not only affecting the patient, but affecting the caretaker and third-party assistance. Now, in order to show that what we need from investment is not just about monetary. So we've created a theory of change that assists us and directs us in where we want to be in 2 years and 5 years from now. So our inputs that we currently have is manufacturing, which we outsource. We partnership with medical device innovators, and as well as directors, human resources, and health, and the healthcare network. Now, what we'll gain from this is we need to put policy and procedures in place, because we are young players in the game. We've registered our company in 2016, and we've been in with the innovation for the past 10 years. We want to also create our own manufacturing plant in the next 2 to 3 years, so we can build one of Africa's first medical innovation manufacturing plants. Okay, then our short-term outcome is increased volumes of productions. We want to increase focus on persons with disability, increase company growth, and increase cases of independence through users. Our long-term outcomes is creating awareness of difficulties faced by persons living with a disability, and the impact, bringing independence and dignity to both temporary and permanently wheelchair users. Now, what we've done here, we've laid out a few of our funders, which is the Technology Innovation Agency, the Innovation Hub of South Africa, and as well as the Industrial Development Corporation. With regards to our business-to-business selling, we would look at wheelchair companies such as Radical Mobility and German Industries, which we're already in partnership with. And we've won a few awards together with the United Nations, the Da Vinci Business Awards, and we are currently SAB Disability Innovation Award finalists, and we have 12 other awards in our belt. Now, why do we deserve to win? Because we are passionate about finding and understanding the vulnerabilities faced in an untapped market that's taken for granted, and assisting through disruptive, affordable, and innovative thinking. We incorporate 11 out of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals to ensure we reach the values and principles as social entrepreneurs and an organization as a whole. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Portia. Any questions from our judges?
Thank you so much, Portia, for your presentation. I'd like to ask about your strategy to market entry. Is it sustainable? I looked at your projections. I am concerned about our state of the economy currently, especially due to what we've experienced with COVID. Could you maybe elaborate on your plans for how do you aim to maintain those projections that you showed us in your pitch, and your strategy to market entry? Are you planning to scale up to other countries or go globally?
Okay, thank you so much for the question, Doctor. Okay, so our entry to market is through wheelchair manufacturing companies. So because our product, our seat is an add-on to currently existing wheelchairs, we've partnered with the top 5 wheelchair companies, manufacturing companies in South Africa, and one of them are our current manufacturers. And with regards to the current pandemic that we face right now, our product also speaks to persons that are older in the rural areas, and as well as our patients in hospitals, and as well as nurses, because unfortunately during this time we're unable to visit our family members, and they are more vulnerable to getting sick from anyone else. So how this product will speak to them is eliminating the diseases that will be caused by using public bathrooms or having to go 10 feet, because I'm from Venda myself and the toilets are so far. So that will also assist the person that's in a wheelchair to be able to use the bathroom independently and in a dignified way by just wheeling themselves to a confined space within their room or the house.
Thank you. I just want to find out, is your business profit driven at all?
Yes, ma'am. It's actually a PTY Limited. It is profit driven. The reason why we call ourselves social entrepreneurs, because we look at the future. In future, we would want to help move our company into more of a hybrid. So it will be for profit and a non-profit organization. But for now, it is for profit, yes.
Okay, thank you so much. And please do keep up the great work.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I really appreciate it.
Sure.
Okay. Any questions? All right. I think that's it. Thank you, everyone, for participating during this EWC National Finals. We hope that all of you make it, but unfortunately, there needs to be 3 national winners who will proceed to the global finals. So what will happen now is during today and tomorrow, you should receive an email from us letting you know if you've made it to the global final stage or not. And the participants that will make it to the global stage and will be invited to participate in a structured virtual boot camp, depending on the stage of your business, and you will receive extensive mentorship sessions aimed at helping you refine your pitching sessions and presentations. We wish you all luck in the next stage, but I know that after this process, if there's investors looking at watching this event, someone will definitely call you up. So do not feel disheartened if you didn't make it, because this is a great platform. And if you want to revisit this webinar, please go on the EWC platform and go under events so you can look at other countries' live stream events if you just want to see what's happening around the world. Thank you very much for making time for this event. Till next time.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, ma'am. Thank you, everybody, and all the
you.
best.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Well
Cheers.
done,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.